I enjoy my time there. I really disconnect from the world. I put the cell phone away and we just catch up. As most of you know, finding friends as an adult is hard. And as the only woman of this group, I haven't really found any female friends since we've settled here, moved here. So I do really embrace and enjoy the time that I spend with my hair lady. And then again, you know, I've been seeing her for so long. She knows of the business and our travels, and we've settled. And I know about her 2 adult daughters, and I love listening to the wedding plans that have been going on now for a year and a half. So I really enjoy that.
I think you just hurt Jerry's feelings.
Sorry, I want to hear chat.
When you said that you're the only woman in the group. Sorry,
Hey,
Jerry.
everybody. Welcome to the Outer Belt Podcast. I'm Patrick, and you all know my friends.
Chili.
Buttermilk.
Eric.
And Jerry.
And we're coming to you from the Outer Belt Studios here in Columbus, Ohio. A little sad we don't have our production assistant with us today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bummed about that.
He's
You're
having.
missed.
Yeah, you are missed, but I understand. He's having a little computer issues. So, what are you bringing him back that he doesn't know necessarily 100% about?
Brand new laptop.
Nice. Lenovo?
Apple.
That would be funny.
That would be hilarious.
You go back with the $299 Toshiba from Walmart. You're like, here you go.
He told me that he told you about it, and I was actually thinking in the back of my mind, like I was curious the specs of what you were getting him, if it's going to be so
Better than he has.
That would be
I did-
funny to go
because
purchase.
the one he has,
He has a MacBook Air from
Okay.
1926.
no, 2019, but his MacBook Air is fully spec'd.
Right.
We're talking 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive. Like he got the top of the line model, and if he's having problems with 16 gigs of RAM now,
Yeah.
and you get a MacBook Pro that's got 8 because they come with 8 to start with. Like,
But is he running a Intel? If it's 2019, it's an Intel,
he has
right?
the M1.
Okay. All
Then
right.
why
He got
would
the
it-
first M1.
Oh, then he may not be getting much of an upgrade. Then what's the problem with it?
It's I don't know. Everything he does, and when it comes to the VMRs, it comes to a crawl. Like I don't know if it's everything he has open, the tabs.
Could
I
be.
was thinking it was the memory.
Yeah. That was my first thought upstairs, and you mentioned that was maybe memory, but I wonder if it's just something else going on. It needs to be refreshed and start over. And that might be something that a good thing to do is once he gets everything swapped over,
Yeah.
refresh that one.
Because everything they do is in the cloud. All their stuff they upload
Exactly.
is Google Drive. Like
Yep.
he
And-
doesn't save anything.
And,
know?
and even the VMRs that we do, for those who don't know, VMR is a vehicle maintenance report, and we have to do it with the carriers for every single truck we own. Both FedEx and Panther have them. It's just a document spread. It's just a document, so it's PDF, which uses very, very, very little
Should use very little
memory.
resources.
So, I mean, that is the kind of thing you can do on a $249
Right.
laptop from Walmart. So,
I'm thinking it's just everything he has open because he's running open phone in the background. He's literally
Yeah.
he literally has 2 Safari windows open.
how
and
often does he turn it off?
I argue with him on that part a lot. I try to get him to shut it down every night, but it's hard to shut it down because as soon as he shuts it down, that phone's going to ring and he needs it. So it's difficult. Sometimes he'll do it in the mornings. He'll restart. Everything.
I can't tell you how many times we've had issues, or Eric's had issues on a computer, and he's like, "Can't get this to work." It's just frustrating me to no end. And I'm like, "Turn it off, turn it back on," and he does that, and
Yeah.
that's the end of the. Well, Don, we hope you enjoy your gift that what's your name again?
Jerry.
Jerry is bringing back. And again, we miss you. Hope you are done with your task soon.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Any
So-
news? What's up?
Well, I wouldn't be an Outer Belt podcast if we didn't talk about, or an Outer Belt show if we didn't talk about the weather.
I was going to say the weather.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
the weather has been something.
Something. Yeah, you can call it that.
It's been everything.
Crazy.
It's been all over the place. 70-degree days, followed by 65-degree days with thunderstorms and tornado watches and 30-degree days. I don't know if I'm wearing my long johns or my shorts. It's just been today at the yard.
Yes.
Friggin' hailstorms.
You know,
Friggin' hailstorms. Hell froze over, apparently.
but not even storms.
Can
That
you
was
tell
what was
how
so
upset
odd.
I am by this weather?
You seem a little grumpy.
I'm so upset with this weather right now.
I see we're
I'm
going to
just
push
done with
through it, though, and we're going to get to the other side of
I know. Just think
almost
of
April weather.
listen. We're April, and it's finally happening. Spring is here. So tomorrow, of course, it's snowing.
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 Yes.
Like I was thinking the other day, if we're already having this crazy weather now, I wonder what summer's going to bring. Do you think we're going to have?
You
a
know
lot
what,
of
Jerry?
outbreaks
Don't
with
even- don't even-
thunderstorms and
don't
A nice
even-
storm.
tornadoes?
A nice storm. A nice
Jerry.
storm.
Don't even wonder about summer. Let's just deal with today.
No, we're
It's
having
just-
we're having a.
my goodness.
Aren't we having the largest sciatica? What are they called again? Little bugs.
Cicada.
Cicada, and then we're having the largest cicada season
are?
ever
Yes.
this year.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
Yep. Wear your earplugs when you sit on the patio.
Oh my
Like
gosh! Do you remember them?
millions.
Do you remember them from like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
they were so loud. We didn't really get they weren't aggressive, which was fine. But what we did get was the smell of their dead, rotting bodies.
Really? I didn't know that was a thing.
That was a thing. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and they're all over the concrete and stained everything. Yeah. So can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I need to move back to California.
No, you don't. California's
don't
having.
want to. I
They're
have
having
no
snow.
desire
They're
to.
having floods.
Yeah.
They're having drought.
They've got a brand new lake. Well, a
They have
brand
they
new
do a
old
brand-
lake.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane. I'm just over weather.
Yeah, but like a month ago, they had like an empty lake bed with a church that they found from like 100 years
right,
ago.
Exactly.
I have to say, I did talk to my mom in North Carolina, and she's like, "Oh, the sun's shining here, and it's warm." She's already getting close to 80, and I'm like, "Not here yet."
She's not that old.
The weather, not her.
That's funny.
The weather. Yeah.
I know.
Let's talk about anything else, like pulling my fingernails out or something. The weather. It's so frustrating.
Well, we were just down at the truck show with all of y'all, and the video last week came out really great. Thank you, Jerry, for putting that together. Sorry you couldn't be on camera, but did a wonderful job filming and editing it. And a lot of that B-roll was actually from Don, right? He did a lot of that B-reel.
He got a lot for me on the GoPro. He went outside and some really cool trucks out there that I didn't even see when we were at the show.
I know.
So
I like that. When I watch the videos, I'm like, look at all those trucks.
the one with the
inside.
dinosaur. I thought
That's
that
what I
was
said
cool.
too.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, he did good.
That was a rough day.
Yeah.
Woo, man.
Thank goodness for the padded carpet.
We have always we have always done that show in 3 days, and this was the first time we crammed it all into one day. It wasn't our goal. We
No, it
actually
wasn't.
our intention was to go out there for 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and upon coming into Louisville, the interstate ended up getting shut down, so we had to go all the way to Lexington and back up, and we just lost way too much time,
Way
so we
too
weren't
much.
able to make it out on Thursday, so we had to cram everything into one day. It was still a pretty cool show. I mean, I enjoyed everything I saw. I don't know that ARI had anything that blew me away. That's usually the booth that I think of for like the really cool sleeper stuff. Like
Yeah.
one year they had a slide out. I thought that was really neat. And
Yeah.
it was the whole wall slid out. They had another year where they had the hot tub
The hot
jacuzzi.
That was last year.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was last year.
Well,
yeah.
Not this year, but last year.
Yes, but this year, I don't know. You like the U-shaped kitchen in the back.
But after thinking about it, it had some flaws, but overall,
Yeah.
I liked it. Yes.
Yeah. It's funny the Fido booth, their truck just made me think of the two we bought.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because last time we were at the show last year, if you saw a recap video from last year, we were talking about this is what our trucks are going to be like.
Yeah.
And now that we have them, it's like,
Huh.
yeah, looks
Looks just like
just
this
like
one.
our trucks. And
I didn't
so,
understand the dishwasher in the one. Like, do you really have that many dishes? It's two of you.
I agree.
What are you hosting a party? And most of the time, people
I
are
don't
doing
know.
paper
Sometimes
plates.
whenever I cooked, I wish I had a dishwasher.
But it's not a full size. My thing is, it's not a full size residential dishwasher.
No.
Like, don't get me wrong. When we cook here, like, so sometimes all six of us will have dinner here. We'll cook. And now there's 6 cups, 6 plates.
Yeah, I get that.
Skillets, all that stuff. And so I fill the dishwasher up, turn it on, and I don't have to worry about it. But the dishwasher, I'm at a house, I have a full size dishwasher.
Yeah.
That dishwasher is just one drawer.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
It was 2. It had a top and a bottom.
did it?
Oh, was the top of dishwasher drawer
Yeah.
too?
It was
Well,
two.
that's really overkill then.
Oh, I've never seen that. I've only
I'm pretty sure the picture you sent me had two.
At any rate, I still
Yeah.
don't understand it when there's only 2 of you living in it. And again, most of us out here use paper products. I do get if you're in something like that, you might use true.
The top is
Dishes.
a microwave.
Ah.
Still it's stainless steel trim, but the top was a microwave.
Can you even
Okay.
fit a plate in it?
Yeah, you can get a plate in
very
there.
yeah.
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 In
Okay.
the middle.
Not much of one, but yeah.
Speaking of the dishwasher, though, not one person commented and said they found it.
It was pretty quick.
Well,
I saw
didn't
it.
want to make it real obvious.
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
did see it in the
I
video.
saw it in the
clip,
video
though.
too.
I don't know. I don't
Yours
get
is
it in a
weird.
truck. And then you're using a lot of water. Dishwashers
Yeah.
do take a lot
They
of
do use
water.
a lot of water.
And the trucks don't really carry. It's like one thing I used to hear all the time back in the day, and I'm going to mention it now. People are going to start commenting about it. Is why don't you see washing machines in these trucks? These big, massive, not the size we have, but like the big 168, 180 inch sleepers. Why are there not washing machines in there? There's plenty of room. RVs have those all in one. It's a washer and a dryer. You
Sure.
put your clothes in there, and 4 hours, 5 hours later, you have a set of dry clothes.
Well, there's RVs that have the
Um,
stackables too. I think we're going to make the same point. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying for a space savings,
Sure.
they make the single one. Why are they not putting those in these trucks? And it usually comes down to the water.
Water. Well, and RVs, my point was going to be RVs, when you're parked at a campground, you've got access to water.
Yes.
Where these trucks, you might park at a campground occasionally, but you're out there to make money. You're going to keep rolling. You're not going to have time to stop at somewhere and plug in the water to do your
But
And
even
you can't put much in there. Sorry, you can't put much in there. You're talking a pair of pants.
Yeah.
Oh, and the small ones.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
small ones are very
maybe
small.
maybe all of your under drawers, your underclothing, all of it.
Yeah.
So those are what, 10, 12 single items? I don't know how often you do laundry.
So,
7?
I've got the 40-foot RV we have has one of those Splendid single small washer dryer combination. I can put a change of clothes in it.
That's it.
So like if I, go to take a shower in the afternoon or in the evening, throw all my clothes in the washing machine that night, they will be done. And that is the complete, a pair of jeans,
Right.
a shirt, socks and drawers, and that's it. Nothing else you can do. Like, period. If it comes to like towels and wash rags, maybe 2 towels
Wow.
and 2 wash
Yeah.
rags.
And how long does that
But
take?
even that's pushing it. It's long. It's like it's about 4 hours for a total cycle,
So wash and dry.
wash and dry. Now they do make the one on my RV is vented, so it actually has like a dryer vent like you'd have at your house.
Right.
But they do make them that don't require that, and those are like 6 hours.
Wow.
They take a lot longer.
Wow. For one day's out close.
Mm-hmm. And it uses like 80 gallons of water. It's a lot. Maybe 40 gallons of water. But
That's
still,
still
it's
a
a
lot of
lot.
water.
It's a lot of water. And you're talking about our trucks carry 12 to 14 gallons of
Yeah.
water on them.
Yeah.
The bathroom trucks have about 28 gallons of
Yeah.
water on them. Like it. So again, that's why you don't see those in the dishwasher. Same thing. It doesn't use 28 gallons of water, but it might use 10.
More than you want.
Well, that's all of your water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also at a campground, you're talking about. When you have an RV and you hook up to a campground, the RV is designed for pressurized water.
Sure.
The trucks are not.
They're not. It's just a tank, and when it's full, it overflows.
Yes. So
Yeah.
you literally have to when you're at a campground, you top off your tank.
Right.
You do whatever you're doing. You're camping. You're having fun. You go shower. It's time for the next person to shower. You got to go refill the
Yeah,
tank back
turn
up.
it back on. Yeah.
And they got real
Yeah.
small wastewater tanks. If they even
If
have
they
that,
have one.
some don't.
Yeah.
Some manufacturers don't put wastewater tanks on at all. So that water goes straight to the ground. It's gray water, so it's legal. There's always a tank for black water. So if you have a toilet in your truck, there's always a black water tank because that's not legal to dump on the ground. But still, it's like you got to have something to do with all this
Sure.
stuff, and
Yeah.
so it's cool. It reminded me a lot of the hot tub. Extremely neat,
Yeah.
very impractical.
Very
Yes.
impractical.
Absolutely.
Very impractical.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that
because
was
you can. That's what it reminded me of. Because you can. Why not?
Yeah.
Because you can.
if you have the space. Again, when you have a 180-inch sleeper, which I think that thing was, you have so much space. You're just finding stuff to film, right?
Yeah.
We work in a much tighter try to range of things. So like on our straight trucks, our small sleepers are 96 inches. Our bigger ones are, with the showers, are 110, 120, something like that. So every inch matters.
Right.
Like every little inch is a give or take. Every inch of counter space is less closet you got, is less bed you get. Like every little thing is a give or take. So we've got what we feel like is a pretty good balance of that in the designs we have, but it's really give or take. When you have 180 inches, just
You
throw
got room
some
to play
yeah,
with.
throw some
Yeah.
crap in there. Who cares? Like it really, you don't have to be as efficient. You don't have to be as considerate.
Right.
Because that was one too. They had a weird situation with a TV or something as well.
It was in the kitchen. That's what
It
I
was
was.
it was in the back corner of the kitchen,
Yeah.
opposite where the couch would be if the bed was up.
Yeah. So they had a
Um,
couch instead of a dinette set.
Right. So if
Yes.
someone was working in the kitchen, they're blocking the TV.
Yeah.
In that corner. So it was just
And then it had 2 poles for your dinette,
your dinette set. Your
So
table.
basically, like 2 TV trays is what it amounted
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And then in my thought, well, once you got those tables set up, if you needed a
not moving.
condiment from the fridge, you couldn't open the fridge because it would open into one of the tables.
Yeah.
Or if the person furthest from the kitchen needed something, seasonings from the kitchen, the person closest to the kitchen would be responsible because there was 2 tables between
Yeah.
the furthest person.
Right.
It didn't seem very user friendly. Again, somebody else's idea. The couch was really long. Like, in order to watch the TV, you would have to sit
At an angle.
at an
Yeah.
angle
Yeah.
or legs up, and the other person sat
right.
inside your legs. I mean, I don't know how you would sit on that.
It was an odd.
It was very long and narrow couch. It was weird.
It was an odd design. I will say it was a true custom. So you won't find that floor plan on any of ARI's standard floor
Sure.
plans.
Well, that makes sense.
This was definitely someone had an idea and they built that idea. I will say one thing that comes in very nice with building 20 to 30 trucks a year is we've built so many trucks. When we go to say, all right, we're going to build this new floor plan, which we're actually in the process of doing right now. We're in the process of designing a new floor plan for some new tractors. We've done so much of this that we know, like, all right, are all the doors going to be open? Okay, one of the first round of trucks we built with the pull-down TV from the roof, super nice.
Yeah.
Very first day we opened one. I think it might have been your truck. Go to open up one of the upper cabinets and slam right into the TV, and it's like, all right, well, that didn't work.
Or the bathroom door.
Or the bathroom door.
With it,
Yeah. So we've learned, like, a lot of tricks of, like, okay, if I move this thing literally 5 inches on the plan, makes all the difference in the world.
Right.
Once it's built, it's a nightmare. Because, like, in the roof, for example, they only put 2 pieces of structure there for your TV. It's not like the entire roof is structural. I mean, it is, but you can't hang from it.
Right.
Except for those places. So to move the TV out 5 inches would be a total rip the roof out and have to rebuild all that. So if you catch it in the design phase, it's much easier. The tables with the poles, we've got a handful of trucks that have them. In one particular design, like our side-by-side, it is the only thing that'll work. We've looked at everything, and it is the best plan. But we try not to use those because when you're, trying to eat, as easy as it is for you to put a table up, how do we keep it out of your way? Some of the trucks, depending on how the cabinets are, have a square table. Some of them actually have like a little angle cut out of them. Have you ever had a truck where the table had the angle cut on it, or it was always squared? You've seen it though, haven't you?
Yes.
Where they have the angle cut out.
Yeah.
It's because it's too tricky to get in and out of a spot
Right.
if the table's perfectly square.
The Western Star was that way.
Yes.
With the angle.
So-
Yes.
If it was pointed, you couldn't squeeze into the bench.
Yeah. So it's learning those little things. Like one of the things we learned was early on with AA sleepers, we were putting cup holders in the table itself, which sounds great. When you have it up and you're sitting there eating and the person's driving down the road, you've got a cup holder. You don't have to worry about your cup flying all over the place, right? You can throw those little non-stick tablecloths, aren't tablecloths, but mats down and hold your plate. But then shortly after that, I had a team that never, ever used their dinette set. They only ever kept the bed down. And they're like, man, it'd be nice if they had a cup holder back here. And I'm like, we did put a cup holder back there. But then it occurred to me, it's in the table.
Right.
And if your bed is down, you have
can't
no
use
cup
it.
holder.
Yep.
So now, like on the bolts, and I think the RI as well, there's cup holders
In the windows.
In
in
the
the
windowsill,
windows area.
yeah.
So like just going through that process, going through all those steps, figuring all that out. Now when we design a plan, like the last few we've done are really good.
Yeah.
But it's from so much trouble and error. So when I saw that, I did think to myself, this is not ARI saying, hey, check out what we can do. This is a customer that had a really cool plan, and ARI is like, all right, we'll take it to the show.
Yeah.
But it was not.
I think it served its purpose.
It
For
did.
just the general public.
It showed what they could do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know they could put a dishwasher
Yeah.
in there. I mean, I assumed they could, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So,
It was a pretty cool show, all in all.
it was.
I enjoyed my time.
Yeah. I wish we could have gone to that restaurant.
Which restaurant?
So right past ARI, past ArcBest, past
yeah.
all that, they had like a whole restaurant area set up.
They did.
That the lady, you know, she yelled at us.
Baby,
She's like, "Come in here and get some
come
food."
on here and get some food. We got collard greens and cornbread and
Did she
sweet
really say that?
potatoes.
She
Yes,
did.
she
I wish
did.
this was.
Was
Yes,
that,
she did.
Was that on the back end of
It
everything?
was.
It was
Yeah.
the back end.
I wish we would have gone there
It
too.
smelled good. It
It
looked
did smell
good.
It was like a buffet. You
Yeah.
paid a
And it-
price and you buffeted it up one side and down the other.
It was like $20 a person, but
It still would've-
compared to the pricing in that building,
Oh,
at the
yeah.
other end?
Definitely reasonable.
or the
Very
walk
fair.
to the other end.
yeah. So, but we just. I think if we'd have been there the whole weekend, we probably would have made like, okay,
Yeah.
tomorrow for lunch, let's go in there.
And
But
they looked like they had table seating.
they
They
did.
did
They
have
had
table seating.
tons of table
Yeah.
seating.
And
Whereas
you,
the other end didn't have
you-
any room.
you weren't going in there unless you were paying for the meal.
Yeah.
I
So it
think they-
wasn't like just free seating.
Yeah, and I think drinks were waiter service.
Oh.
I think only the food was buffet, but the drinks
Interesting.
were waiter service. Yeah, it looked really
Interesting.
nice.
It did.
Um,
Yeah, the other side, just for you folks where they have the food court, they've got tables in there.
Not
But
enough.
people were camping out at the tables. They weren't just
Yeah.
eating; they were camping out the tables, having meetings and things. We ended up in a hallway, sitting on the floor against the wall,
We did.
having our meal.
It was the most comfortable concrete and brick I've ever sat on.
It was mine too.
It was divine.
It was hard to get up. It was so
I was
comfortable.
about
it
to
was hard
say,
to get up.
I chose to stand because
You did.
I didn't think I was going to get up if I went down. So.
Not to mention the restroom that not everybody knew about.
Oh yeah, there was
Yeah,
a
the
private
hidden
restroom, a VIP
yeah.
restroom. Yeah,
Yeah, that was nice.
It was a great show. I love Louisville. Love being able to hang out in that area. I picked out a steakhouse for us all to go to, and it was miserable. Sorry about that. But you win some, you lose some.
It was a big chain steakhouse. None of us had great expectations for it.
No, but they lived up to their 3.5
Yes,
star
they
rating.
did. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we were
They sure
hungry at
did.
that point too.
starving.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, which is when they didn't bring the food. That's
Yeah.
anyways. So if you get a chance, go see them. Actually, the thing I got, which is what I remember being so good, the two things I got were delicious. One of them was cold, which aggravated me because it was
Yeah.
supposed to be hot, but it was so good. It was just like I remember because we don't have that particular brand up here
Right.
in Columbus, so I haven't had them in probably a decade. Because when I go back home to Louisiana, I'm not going to that chain restaurant. I'm going to a Cajun restaurant or something. But no, I thought it was a great time. And then we came back to Columbus. Eric and I spent an entire day here,
Ooh.
like probably about 32 hours. I want to
Yeah,
say
about that.
about 32
Sure.
hours, and then we took off and headed down to Florida. And or is it Florida? You live there. What do you call it?
Well, Flo Rida is country music.
Yeah, no, country music.
I don't know. I don't.
He's a rapper.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's similar to country.
You would
Yeah,
think
close.
I'd listen to them good.
Yeah.
I know a couple of their songs. That's it.
Yeah,
Low, low, low.
Yeah.
low,
Okay.
low.
Yeah. There you go. I know that one.
that's their
That's
song.
not Flo Rida.
I
No.
don't know.
It could have been.
Apple bottom
Boots
jeans.
with the sheens.
No, it's
With
not
the sheen?
Flo Rida.
Yeah, that's not.
Who sings?
No.
Flo,
Nah, I'm curious. I know Flow Rider.
You do. They do that one song. What is that one song?
He sings low. Get low, low.
No, that's not Flo Rida.
Yeah, it's Flo
Yeah.
Rida featuring T-Pain.
Really?
Yeah. I stand corrected.
Wait, say that again.
Wait, that again?
He sings My House.
Welcome to my house.
Whistle.
Da, 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 da.
I stand corrected. I'm sorry.
He does do a crossover mix song, I think, with a country artist.
See, I wasn't totally off.
Maybe with Tim McGraw, but don't quote me on that. Could have been Jason Aldean. I think it was Jason Aldean, but don't quote me on it. Please do not quote. Don't
He
quote.
does whistle. He does
I did have Low, and I don't really even listen to him, but that's a fine
But
song.
but you know that song
I know,
Yeah.
it's Flow Rider.
very well. You've perfected the dance to that song. Thank you very much.
It's
So again, how do you say it when you live in Florida? Is it just Florida?
I just hate crazy people.
okay.
But
Yeah.
Florida.
You do have that in Florida. It's that humidity.
Yes. Yeah, it gets in your brain. The sweat just gets in.
Yeah.
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 What does she say on Golden Girls? Blanche is like, I think it's the heat. We just mature faster in the South.
That's funny.
Blanche
so you and
would
Eric
say
went
that.
off to Florida.
So we went down to Florida. A lot of people, so many people I've told that to are like, "How was your vacation?" And I'm like, "Well, it would have been fun if it was vacation, but we didn't go to vacation. Instead, we went to work. So we went to Disney. I know. Again, people say, "Well, how was your vacation?" But actually, ended up I went down there for the Disney Leadership Institute, and had a great time there. Met up with a couple other fleet owners, and we went and sat through a few days of training. I gotta say, it was pretty incredible. I've heard for years that Disney's training and everything is on point, and they're really known for doing these huge conferences and bringing on all these famous people, and it's one of their like lesser known things they do, but in the business world, and when you look at like Tony Robbins is a motivational speaker. When you look at motivational speakers and people that speak on leadership and all that stuff, they're one of the big people in town that do this. And so I had the opportunity to go and went and had a great time. Ended up staying at a Disney resort. That's fun because Disney's one of those places. As a kid, I always wanted to go. I always remember watching on television, them talking about it. I mean, you got to remember when I was a kid, Epcot was pretty brand new. So it was always like Epcot and the Magic Kingdom. Come stay at the Contemporary, and they'd show you like the monorail going through the building
Right.
and through the hotel and all this stuff, and all the great things that came from Disney. And so I always wanted to go. It was never in the cards. We never could make it. To actually go and be able to spend time there, even though we didn't go in the parks, was a lot of fun. And we did stay at the Contemporary. We did get to stay at the hotel where the monorail goes through it. And let me
Nice.
tell you one thing I learned about it. It has buildings outside of it that you sleep in that don't have the monorail going through it. That totally surprised me. I was all excited. I'm like, all right, we're staying at the Contemporary. Get to stay at that hotel. I'll be able to look out of my balcony and see the monorail going through the building and
Right.
everything. Then they're like, you're in like the Asian Spice building or something. I forget what it's, Spice Market Spice something. I don't know. And I'm like, really? And it was like down and around the corner and off property, and we had
It's a 5-minute walk just to get to the actual Contemporary building
yeah.
from where we were sleeping.
Wow.
Did you get to ride the monorail?
I
Oh,
did.
yeah.
I did on the last day before we left the Contemporary. We actually took it around and literally just that was the ride.
Did you go in the front?
I didn't get to go in the front. How do you get in the front? Because I saw when they were passing by. Well, so when I first got on, it was one of those where like it's right there and we have to run for it. So we made a run for it and got on. I get on, then Eric gets on after me, and as he's getting on after him, the doors close like the back of his shirt just barely clears. Otherwise, he'd have been like jerked back. And the first thing I noticed was we were in the front of the monorail, but the wall's there. You can't see forward. And I didn't know it was going to do that. I thought you'd be able to see forward. So I did when I got out. I walked over there and I looked in there and I saw a nice bench that you could sit on. And then there's the place where the monorail guy drives, or gal. It's funny I say guy. The only person I know that works for Disney and drives a monorail is a lady. It looked cool, but I'm like, that's got to be by invite only or something. Like, what's the rules? How do you get in there?
You just have to ask whenever you're getting on, if you get to the very front, and whenever you see the conductor that's driving it. Usually they do it a lot for the kids, but you just simply ask, and if they have room, they'll let you in.
So probably not the last minute person though.
No.
That'd have been some
Yeah.
helpful
Because I've rode
information.
up front quite a few times. It's really, really cool to watch them. And whenever they control it, they literally just press a lever.
Yeah.
It's all automated. It knows when to slow down, going around the curves. And, like, he doesn't do anything but just push the lever and it goes. There's no brakes. There's nothing. It's
Do
all
they steer?
automated. No. It's all automated.
That's
Steer
interesting.
on the monorail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends that worked at Disney, and like that was my way of getting into Disney because I never could afford to go.
Oh.
Like Disney's expensive.
Yeah.
Let's face
You
it.
gotta work
Yeah.
it.
So I would always hit up my friends, and they always got free passes and everything.
Yeah.
So like when I lived down there, I would go probably twice a month.
Oh, wow.
That
It
gives-
was a lot of fun.
That's the original meaning of friends with benefits.
Exactly.
Yes. What's the new one?
Yeah.
So, anyways, we're down there at Disney, and we're having a great time doing these courses. And these courses are intense. I mean, it was 7 a.m.
Really, they have courses in tents.
Th-
I mean,
these
all
are-
these
these were
buildings
co-
they've got, but they've got the courses in tents. I don't understand. It's just
So-
they set tents up temporarily while they're doing the courses, or
No, this is actually a permanent. It's in their ballroom area.
their tents, their ballrooms are in tents.
No, Vince. It's past the tents.
We're past the tents. You go past the tents to get to the ballrooms.
Correct.
Got you. Okay,
Yes.
I get it.
And then it's really cool how they do it. So they bring you into this room, and
In the tent.
it's
Go ahead.
it's like, you know how hotels have ballrooms with the big high ceilings
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
massive,
Uh-huh.
but you know how they also have ones that are more intimate, so they have the lower ceiling,
Sure.
and they may even be right next to one that has a big high ceiling, but like it's intentionally designed for a smaller group, and
Right.
and we're trying to make it more intimate.
Yeah.
So you go in there. They had breakfast set up every morning. I did not eat breakfast a single morning, but man, it looked good. The last day we were there, they had Mickey Mouse pancakes.
Oh.
I'm sorry, waffles. Oh, it was brutal. But I'm like, I can't eat pancakes.
Did they
or
offer
waffles.
syrup and jelly?
Yes, and
Nice.
honey, just in
Oh.
case. They're
It's just in case Pooh Bear showed up.
that's right. Pooh Berry.
Pooh Bear.
Pooh Bear.
You said okay. So roll the tape. No.
It's just in case Pooh Bear showed up. It's just in case Pooh Bear showed up.
So you go in there. They got banquet tables set up and everything. It's day one, and they've got. I thought it was so cool. So Samsung makes a television called the Frame, and the reason I'm so aware of this TV is because I own one, and I've owned two other ones because I love them. They are, if you don't know what a Samsung Frame is, it's Samsung take their television and they put it in like, how to describe this? They changed the outside of the TV to where it's got a very, very narrow,
Very thin bezel.
a very thin bezel. It goes
Yeah.
all the way around it. There's no Samsung logo on it at all.
Right.
There's no speakers, nothing. You can't see anything. And then they made it square. So, like, you know, a lot of TVs, if you look at the back, they're kind of like rounded
Right.
or on the edges or something like that. They're molded. This is not that. It's perfectly square. It's a brick, basically. They actually sell these like wooden frames you can attach to it, or you can they give you the dimensions so you can build your own if you're really creative. And they do all kinds of things. They hang them on their wall. Mine's hung on a wall. But they also have them, you can put them on an easel, and you can stick them in a corner. They can go portrait or landscape. They're very
Right.
diverse, very cool televisions. And then the gimmick of them is when you turn them off, it'll show whatever picture you put there, and it doesn't just turn into a black screen. It actually shows that screen, that image. So what Disney did was they took Disney Leadership Institute, and they put that as their off screen, and then put it on the frame and put the frame on an easel. So it looked like, instead of having just like
A
a
piece of
foam
poster
board
board,
cutout of Disney Leadership Institute, it was that frame television with that, which I thought was crazy expensive for what
Oh,
they're doing.
sure.
But they're Disney. They have tons of money. It looked really nice, and then it was next to a fireplace, and you're like, aren't you in a hotel? Yeah. They had a fireplace.
Wow.
And then one day it was like,
Well, you got to warm the tent somehow.
you do. The first day it was Disney's. Are y'all familiar with animation from like back in the early 20s?
Yes.
Yeah.
They used to have these big machines. They'd put a plate in, they would draw it, and they would put another plate in, and that's how they would create a 3D effect.
Mhm.
And they had this big, giant contraption that is how they kind of put it all together. They had that in there. And I thought, oh, that's a cool, like, because they don't use it anymore, like, that's a cool artifact heirloom to have. And then it was just nicely appointed, you know what I mean? Like, columns, but, like, the columns were made out of cloth. Like, it was very, very well put together. But it was small, and it was like, all right, so we're going to sit around these round tables and learn. okay, that's gonna be kind of weird because then I got to turn around to like face you and all this stuff. But whatever. That like in my brain, I'm like working out. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're doing all that, and the lady and eating where they're eating, I'm drinking coffee, and then the lady's like, "Hey, welcome to Disney Institute, Leadership Institute. Just want to welcome you all here. You know, yada yada yada." And she goes on. She's like, "I think a lot of y'all, y'all like our setup, yeah." Well, it's not really. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right, does it? And we're like, you designed it. so she's like, I have an idea. And on one wall was like a drawing of a wall, like animation, but like a rough sketch of what it would look like. And there was a door in it, but like a drawing of a door. So who cares, right? Yeah. Well, it turns out it's a functional door. Oh. And she was like, let's go through here. So they open up the door, and you're like, that looks like a piece of paper, but okay. And then we go through, and then you're in this huge ballroom. Everything is set up. They got three giant giant screens, not televisions. I mean, these are like probably 10-foot wide screens, one on each wall. And then on the back, they have two other TVs that are smaller. All the chairs are the most comfortable desk setups I've ever had in my life. Wow. Like super comfortable chairs with like a little swing out thing. They've got high top tables. They've got round tables. They've got some couches in the corners and stuff. And they're like, whatever best works for your learning style. If you know sitting in a chair, sitting at a table, sitting at a high top, standing at a table, sitting on a couch, if you need a doodle, whatever. Just we're all adults. You do whatever helps you learn. And we've set up this room for all that. And the level of like professionalism, but not only that, but perfection of just everything was just so.
Did people pick different locations to sit, or did you all sit in the same general area?
You just sit wherever you want.
But I mean, could you see when they gave you free reign for the way you knew how to learn best? So did you like see people go stand for a while, or did you go see people use the couch?
Not right then and there, but later on throughout the day, we did see like the high top areas. People did cycle through those. Like we'd go to a break and people would come back and they'd move and sit down in a comfortable seat, and you'd see someone else go and grab that and stand. Or people would go on the couches and try to get away or whatever. Like we did see some of that changing. A lot of people came in. So like it was me and two other fleet owners that were together working in our little group. But there were a lot of people who like brought in their group of 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So you'd see those people kind of hang out together. And then they had the chairs set up. Everybody had like around about this size, which is about 3 foot diameter, something like that.
Yeah,
coffee table around like 4 or 5 desks. And again, these desk, I think like school plastic chair, you know, the wood and all that stuff. Right. This is not that. This is super comfortable. Then we would go through and it was a combination of like lectures and videos and reflection moments where you actually got to jot down ideas that you had. There was a very well put together booklet each day to go through what we were going to talk about. And then lunch, and then after lunch we'd talk some more, and then they would take us actually into the parks. So I did get to go to Epcot, but I didn't go inside of Epcot. I actually went to the casting building at Epcot, and we got to walk around there, and they explained a bunch of stuff that we had learned in the class there. That was Epcot. And then went back and did a debriefing and left. And we got back from there. They had ice cream sandwiches, Mickey Mouse ice cream sandwiches, ice cream bars, and then a couple other like sherbet and stuff like that waiting for us. And then another day we did like Animal Kingdom. And that we actually went inside the park and like talked to people and stuff. So it was very interactive, very like, let's talk about this stuff, learn about this stuff, break into groups and talk about stuff. There were games we played to try to figure stuff out where they talked about communication and such. And everything we did had a point. It wasn't like, you know, I've done events before where they're like, hey, we're going to get to know everybody. So tell us your name and your favorite ice cream character or ice cream flavor or something. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to remember any of that. Like, why? Just to break the ice so we can start conversation? They didn't do that. like everything that we did was very pointed, very. This is what we're trying to get you to understand about your leadership, about mixed signals, about, I don't know. It was just everything was very pointed to a point where you understood, like, oh, that's what they mean. And sometimes, if you were keened in, you could see what was going on, but sometimes you couldn't. Sometimes it was like, what are they talking about? And then you'd get a little further and be like, oh, okay, I see what. Oh, I never thought of it from that perspective. There were a lot of I never thought of it from that perspective moments. So that was really good. I enjoyed the class a lot. Had a blast, and of course, again, it was 7. That was what I was say. It's 7:00 in the morning until 5 p.m.
Oof.
Wow.
It was a long day.
Yeah, intense. Very intense.
Very. I do the fleet inter meetings with FedEx and Panther, and I've been through a bunch of other companies. Like, let's get everybody together and chat or whatever, and you just struggle to stay awake.
Sure.
I mean, you really do. Like, it's like, oh gosh, I can't listen to another conversation about sales or motivation or whatever. With it being that crazy schedule, and then most nights we were out past midnight. Would you say?
One night we got back around midnight.
Yeah. Well, the one night.
We had to.
One night we got back at like 2 a.m. And that's another story. We can't talk about though because cops and all. But
right.
But
not
it was
until it's all said and done, legal proceedings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, we for me to have that little sleep, never felt the need to nod off. I never got tired. It was so engaging.
Yeah, that kept you moving.
It's hard to do. I mean, to take a group of a bunch of adults.
Yeah.
And to be able to capture what you're saying and not lose your audience and not have people get tired. I mean, I was super impressed.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to taking a lot of stuff I've learned over the past week. I've got some workbook stuff that Eric and I are going to be talking about over the next few weeks, and just some things I've learned and some stuff that I wanted to how does it fit within our company? That was a big thing of theirs, is like, how do you take what you've learned and apply it, or if it's not, or learn if it's not applicable? Like, both can be true. They did a very good job of breaking down, like, here's the business theory aspect of it. Here's some great ideas to go along with it. And then here's how we do it at Disney. The how we do it at Disney doesn't necessarily apply to me, but the other part of it does, right? Because that's one thing, too, I was worried about was, is this just going to be a big plug for Disney?
Right.
And all we're going to do is learn about Disney this, Disney that? No. Like, they're taking real concepts in leadership or some of the other stuff we talked about, and then applying it and showing us, like, here's the ideas you need to get. Here's the concepts you need to learn. Oh, yeah, here's how we do it. But it's up to you then to figure out how does it fit into your mold.
Right.
Which I loved. I really liked how they handled that. So
Nice.
Eric and I will be talking about that over the next few weeks. Give us some good content. I'm sure all the staff members are going to be like, what is all this? And we're going to have to communicate some ideas with y'all. And I've already had some. I had a few on the fly, actually, at the thing where I texted some of y'all and was like, hey, how do we feel about X, Y, or Z? Because I'm not so sure. Yeah. And so it's been really good. It's hard to take time to reinvest in yourself.
It is.
So I did like this. I have thought about, and I've already talked to a couple other fleet owner friends of mine that weren't at this, about, like, I'm going to try and look at some business development, business leadership development stuff, and maybe let's take a weekend and go do some stuff here or there. Just and some other fleet owners that maybe aren't same size as we are, but I think could benefit from it.
Right. I was surprised when you sent out the Mickey Mouse ears hats for all of us to wear as our work uniform. I was really surprised, though, when Buttermilk said no, she's not wearing it. That I was like, I thought she'd be the first one to want to wear the Mickey Mouse ears as a work uniform, but when she said no, I was completely surprised. And then when you took it back and said, well, okay, we don't have to wear them, I was sad to part with mine.
Is that
Well,
why you're crying?
It is why I'm crying. Yes.
What you don't know is they were $100 a piece,
Okay. Yeah.
and we were able to sell them on eBay for $250 each.
Oh, good
So-
business move. Good business move. Did Disney
you know,
teach you that part too?
they did.
So we buy these for $5 a piece, but in the theme parks we sell
Disney's
them
not buying them for $5 a piece. They're buying them for 88 cents a piece.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Don still got his pair.
That was cool. I got mine is a. It's not my. It's not.
It
my,
is.
it's
That's
not
scary when you call me. It's so scary when you
It's
call.
huge on my phone. Is it on yours
It
too?
is the whole phone.
I know. I called him.
It is the
I called
whole
him the other day.
phone.
I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this?
It's me with
Yeah.
my Disney Leadership Institute ears on.
Yeah.
I seen the photo, but I didn't update
Yeah.
my contacts.
No.
Yeah,
I
it's-
didn't
it's
either.
your
It
contact.
just came up.
It pops up on mine. It's like new photo available. Do you want to update? And
Oh, that's what I
I'm
did
not
then.
clicking it
Yeah,
because I've got my
I
own
made
photo
that
of you.
mistake.
I don't know that I clicked yes. It's just there.
I've declined a couple. Like I've got a great one of Kelly. I think y'all have seen it. That I'm not allowed to
Yes.
show anybody ever
Yes.
again. But I'm like, that's it for life. She hates it.
That's okay. I love Heather's. My Heather.
Mm-hmm.
You're Heather.
Or the other Heather?
The other
Heather Brookhart. Heather from Oregon.
Yes.
Yes, hers is Mardi Gras. Our very first year ever out here on the truck, we did Mardi Gras, and she's beaded up, makeup up, and somehow she ended up with some kind of a green candy in her mouth, or a green cocktail, I think is what it was. And she went to stick her tongue out at me, and her whole tongue is just plum green, and all of the little sparkles and jewels she has on her green and purple.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's
it
so
just-
funny.
And she's got lighted stars on her head, and that's what I have for her, and I love seeing it when she calls me. I'm like, what? Well, it was a great memory too, right? So, but just sometimes you have those great photos that make a great contact for your person.
And I don't have many of those. I'm not a huge person who like jumped on the whole like personalize the ringtone or the photo or
Right.
whatever. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of is what it is. But I've got that for a couple people. A couple times I've seen things where I'm
Yeah.
like, that's what that's got to be. But did end up getting sick towards the end of the trip and really bad allergies, which makes sense. Florida from Ohio, it's lots of seasonal
Yeah.
Yeah.
gunk going around, and ended up getting on some antibiotics and prednisone. Love a good steroid. And I did, the one where it's like take 6 the first day, take 5 the second day, 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. You got to wean yourself off them kind
The
of thing.
taper.
Yeah. So I did that, and that's going to lead us into everyone's favorite segment of the show, which we didn't do last week because we were out and about and didn't have a scale, but did do today, or we're going to do today, and that is Patrick's weight loss journey. And I had to say, I thought I did really good at Disney. I did not eat breakfast at all, period. And then for lunch, I made carb-smart, healthy options, I thought. And then for dinner, I did pretty good. The only dessert I got at dinner was one night we got a creme brulee because I'm a sucker for a creme brulee.
Yes,
so I
you are.
wanted to give it a shot. And we were at a really high-end steakhouse. I was not paying the bill, so I didn't mind. But I got a creme brulee there because the higher end the steakhouse, typically the better the creme brulee.
Were you disappointed?
The
You typically
sugar topping on top was perfect.
Oh,
I mean, I have a method for how I test that, and it was perfect. I mean, perfect. I mean, flawless perfection.
but
The custard was the consistency of cheesecake.
Ooh. It's
Little
a little too thick.
A little too thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, good flavor. I mean, I had a couple bites, and I was like, this is delicious. But it is way too
thick.
dense.
Dense.
And so I literally had a couple bites and pushed it away. And they were like, oh, my God, is it not good? Is it not good? I'm like, the people at the table, I'm like, it's tasty. It's just not right.
It's not
And it-
worth the extra calories.
It's not worth the extra.
unless
Exactly.
it's perfect. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I pushed it away, and that was the only dessert I had. Got on the prednisone, got on the steroid. I don't know about y'all. Every time I take a steroid, I immediately balloon up. And I noticed it as soon as I took it. I joked with Eric. I said, as soon as I take these, I'm going to start gaining weight. Watch. And I mean, like, immediately My shirts were tighter. I don't know if it's so much you gain a lot of weight as much as that you get
You
Water.
hold on to the water.
you hold on the water and
Yeah.
just get yeah.
Yeah.
So I did feel that, and then when I got off it, I immediately saw the weight crash back down. So this morning's weigh-in was 277.
Nice.
So I've gained a couple pounds since the last weigh-in. But a week at Disney or Florida, well, not a full week, but
Yeah.
4 or 5 days at Disney, and then
Matt's before that.
Matt's before that, taking the pill that keeps all that water weight or whatever.
Right.
I'm actually very happy that that's all it was. I would
Yeah.
like to say that I've lost more weight,
Right.
but that was a lot to go on to only see a 2-pound
That's not bad.
change. So, anyways, it's not as good as it could be. I certainly wish I had a better result for you. Maybe next time I will, but yeah, that's Patrick's weigh-in.
What's your feeling of the day?
Oh, and my feeling of the day is going to be not a feeling.
Oh, it's not a feeling.
This has been brought up a couple times, so I decided to bring it up tonight. This right here is called a snack. So you get feelings. You're supposed to stick those 5 feelings and have a lean and green. That's the idea, right? They understand that at some point you may not want just a fueling. You may be in the mood for something else. And so people would sneak in a 6th fueling, which is it has carbs, it has higher calorie content. Like, it's not designed for that. So they came up with several snack options. This happens to be one of my favorites. Popcorn. And it's actually a reasonably healthy size bag of popcorn.
It is.
70 calories, 6 carbs, protein, fiber. It's got some of that stuff in it too. This one is sharp cheddar cheese and sour cream flavored popcorn. It's good popcorn. It's crunchy when you bite into it. It's not soggy, because I hate soggy popcorn. You know what I'm talking about? When you chewy. Yeah, you bite into it and you're like, no, yeah. This is not. It's actually really good, really nice, crispy popcorn. The flavor is thebomb.com, I believe is how you would put it, Melissa.
That's how I would put it.
It's extremely tasty.
Those are good.
This is a problem where it's so good, sometimes you get through a bag and you're like,
I want more.
I want more. So you got to be careful with these. But super delicious. I really like them. And, if you have a snack every day, you're hurting yourself. But if you just want one every now and then,
Yep.
it's a great option. It's a great portion. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to feel guilty that you did it. So, yeah, that's the it's not feeling of the week, but that's the
Snack.
That's the snack of the week. I did see, Melissa,
Yes,
you had an article
I did.
that you were talking about that I believe is very timely, especially considering in a couple days we're about to see the world come to an end.
We are?
Isn't that what it's supposed to be? Are we supposed to wear our white Nike shoes? And
I didn't know that was a thing.
no, that's not an eclipse. That's an asteroid, right? Meteor. What is it? You were in California during that time.
I believe it was a meteor.
It was a meteor.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Jerry?
Mm-mm.
This was the
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate people.
Oh yeah, I just watched that. It was in the '90s, right?
Yes, with the white
We-
tennis shoes.
Yeah.
We just watched that.
I
We
was
watched a thing on it.
I was at my grandma's house in Alabama, and so in Louisiana you can't like where I live. There's too much light pollution. You can't see anything. I don't know if in L.A. if you could see it or not.
No.
Yeah. But we just happened to be at grandma's house, and she lived at the time in rural Alabama. She had a huge area. Her lot was completely clear cut, trees on the sides, 2 magnolia trees in the middle. It was a beautiful property. When she sold it, my cousin bought it, and I'm so happy it's in the family still. It's a beautiful property. But out there, I mean, you can see everything. Like, it's crazy. You're like, that's Mars. That's Venus, that's a meteor. Like, so we were out there actually watching the meteor and thought it was so cool. And then I remember the next morning, the news, and they were talking about all that at grandma's house. I could just see myself in that living room, the wood floor, the brick fireplace, the television in the corner. Like, I have a perfect mental image of that. And just thinking how crazy that was, and then asking my dad, like, why would they do that? And him, because I was at the age where he had to explain to me cults, because I didn't comprehend why would you kill yourself
Yeah.
for this? And
Yeah, there's a show on Hulu. It's like Rewind the 90s or something like that. And that's one episode we just watched. We actually watched it this past weekend, and they like all overdosed on sleeping pills or something.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other episode is on slime from Nickelodeon. You were saying?
So April 8th is the total solar eclipse, if everybody doesn't know that already, but I think we do. And you got to get the special glasses and whatnot if you're going to watch that.
Please
Got
do not
mine.
look directly at
And
the
you have
sun.
to do something special with your phone. I ran across an article. I did not read it. I'm sorry, but they said don't think that you can just take pictures with your phone either. Be careful with cameras and whatever. Or maybe it was just cameras. Again, I did not read an article on that. My article is different.
I wonder if it was film. Film wouldn't react well to being in the sun.
Maybe. But it is happening on April 8th, and it will stretch from Texas to Maine. And this article came from Hylant.com. I think that's kind of funny because it's spelled HYLANT.com. Kind of like Hyfield, that HY. I thought that was neat. I found their article interesting because it had 12 tips to help truckers over the road. And I just kind of wanted to quickly share some tips and tricks that might be helpful for not only Hyfield drivers, but any truckers that may be listening to the podcast. It does say avoid routing trucks to or through the path of the eclipse. Again, Texas to Maine. I know there's some photos out there that show the prediction of where it's going. So maybe part of your pre-trip, see if you're going to be going through the route. I did say number 2, ensure trucks are fully fueled in case of traffic delays. Number 3, reminder drivers to buckle up. That's kind of a no-brainer. You should be that way anyway.
Should be, yeah.
You would think.
But hey, just a reminder. Number 4, to turn on your headlights
Oh, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I might not have thought about that.
because it's going to go dark.
Yep.
Okay, turn on your headlights. 5, be alert for pedestrians who may be distracted and looking up to the sky.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 6, to drive defensively and watch for nearby drivers possibly swerving into your lane.
Oh, jeez.
So you're trying to actively look at it while still in car motion, right? People are going to do silly things.
Can we tell people just to park during that time?
Well, again, I'm talking about the cars around you.
I know.
Maybe even other truck drivers around
Yeah.
you. Number 7, have your snacks and water in the cab in case of lengthy delays. So have those within reach of you in case, again, you're stuck in traffic. Use your sun visors to block the sun and avoid looking at it. We're going to all be tempted to look at it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool phenomenon. Put your cell phones down and avoid taking pictures of the eclipse while driving. You shouldn't be driving with that in your hand anyway, but we definitely don't want distracted driving. Do not wear. This is a pretty big one. Number 10, do not wear eclipse glasses while driving.
So, can I ask a question?
Yes.
The eclipse glasses, I imagine, are super dark sunglasses with UV protection.
Yes.
Because I've seen them, but I haven't touched one or really looked at it.
They're very dark. It's almost like
Yeah.
you're in a dark room.
I was gonna say-
They're akin to like welding goggles.
That's what I was about
Yeah.
to go with. I remember when a buddy of mine out in Texas, I'd never welded. I'm not a welder. He wanted me to. He was like, "You want to try it?" And I was like, "Sure." So he put the shield on my face, and I'm
Right.
like,
You can't see anything.
I
I'm
can't
like,
see
I
anything.
can't. I
How can I
literally
see?
cannot. The brightest day, middle of Texas. I'm like,
Right.
I literally can't see a thing. So if it's something like that, I could see the temptation to be like, let me throw it on real quick, and then not realize oh my gosh, I now can't see how fast
Right.
I'm going. I
Yeah.
can't see
Anything.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 11, use extra caution once the eclipse is over. Traffic will be at its peak.
That's another good point. Because kind of like leaving a football game, everybody took their time coming in.
Yep. To get set up and prepared. But
But
once
it's
it's over, we're out of here.
Yeah.
And number 12 was to be patient and polite. You are the face of the company, is kind of what they said. They had a finally if drivers plan to pull into a safe space, such as a parking lot, to watch the eclipse, they should ensure that whatever eclipse glasses they purchase have been appropriately tested and will protect your eyes. Because if you didn't wear appropriate, then you got back in your truck, that also could create issues. So I thought it was a great article, just from tips and tricks. Again, it's not the entire United States that's going to be affected, but if you're in those peak areas, which seem to be like middle of America, kind of peak driving areas, you just want to be a little more cautious. And it's going to be a lot leading into it, the peak time, and then obviously, like they said, a lot after it. So it's not just a quick 30 seconds of it doing its thing or however long it's predicted. I don't even know that.
Well, the totality over any given region is only a couple minutes, right?
Yeah.
So it's fairly quick. And then I can see people being like, all right, show's over and leaving. The glasses and looking up at the sun, I will tell you, several years ago in Louisiana, we had a solar eclipse? Lunar eclipse? What's it called? Solar eclipse?
Solar eclipse.
Solar
That's
eclipse.
what's happening now.
Yeah, we had a solar eclipse. And we were in the path of totality. I remember for that one, I looked up. There was no solar eclipse glasses that they sold at Walmart or anything like that. But they would just tell you don't look directly at the sun. And I remember looking up at it. Even though the sun is blocked out, there's still so much rays going around it that it's still bright to the point where it's actually still really hard to see something. So unless you have the proper equipment, you may not necessarily be able to see it. And it's weird. It's not like the whole Earth is going to go dark like it at night. But I think it's how it's portrayed in film is when they are in those kind of situations, like, oh, it goes dark and it's got this weird twilight vibe or whatever. It's not going to quite be that dramatic, which I think is where, you need special equipment to be able to actually see it even.
Yeah.
One other little tidbit that I would probably throw back in there, piggyback off of what you said, is they're estimating like over 2 million people traveling for this event. If you don't have to travel, stay home.
Yeah.
Sit in your backyard, enjoy a cookout, friends, family.
Yeah. You could stay at a parking lot, a truck stop, or maybe that's whatever it is you do on a reset or something. Maybe it's a great time to grab a reset.
Yeah.
Just avoid that peak time across America for all of that.
When you were also talking about route planning.
Yep.
Like with our carriers we work with, they allow you to plan your own routes, with the exception of hazmat, because that can be a little tricky, legally speaking. But you do pretty much get your choice of where you want to go. This might be a situation where, like, hey, maybe if I drop down south and then cross east or cross west, as opposed to crossing west and then dropping down south, like maybe it makes more sense to go a different route than I normally would because it keeps me out of that trafficked area.
Sure.
Like if you're driving down 95 and headed towards Florida, you're probably not going to encounter the same traffic as someone who's crossing 70 right through Indiana.
Yeah.
So, it may make sense to like take, I don't want to say the out of the way route, but maybe square up your route a little bit and drop down further south or go further north. If you're going to be cutting across from like California over, maybe jump up to the 80 and come across. That way you're not going to be, well, I guess at that point you won't. You'd be too far out of it anyways. But if you're coming from Laredo, maybe jump up north and then head west or east instead of going to that whole
and don't think maybe rural's going to be best. I think you were talking earlier that, or somebody was.
Jerry was.
Don't think rural's always going to be the better route either, because you were saying what earlier?
Yeah, they're actually premium pricing for parking. A lot of farmers are actually charging upwards of $600 for people to come in and park on their property.
Wow.
To line up for this.
I need to buy land for tomorrow or for Monday.
I know.
Whatever day that is.
It's a cool phenomenon.
Yeah.
Phenomena.
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 What? My Sharona.
Phenomena.
I
know the song you're singing.
I'm dying here. It's a cool thing that's gonna be happening.
Yeah.
And if you are in a place where you can see it, take the time, do it.
Yeah.
Like, what do they say it's gonna happen again in 2040 something?
Well, it'll happen again, but whether or not this path, I think it won't happen again for like 90 years.
Yeah, there's some weird because I did read originally, I was like 90-something years, and I'm like, we had one not too long ago. I can't
Yeah.
believe it's going to take that long. And it is. We have 4 of these across the earth a year. It's just maybe they happen in China. Maybe they happen in India.
Right.
They don't
I
necessarily
see.
happen here. And so then we do get some here in America, but they take different paths. Maybe they don't last as long, right? It's not necessarily where the whole country can see it, or like this one's covering so much of the country. I think that's what makes it crazy.
Yes.
It's
We had one in
covering,
Oregon a couple years
it's
ago.
covering the important parts this time.
Yeah, we had one in Oregon. I was working at the hospital at the time, about 1.5 years, 2 years maybe before I came out, and we had to wear the special glasses to watch that one.
That's very cool.
So, and they kind of, if you didn't have something truly important, they allowed us to kind of jaunt outside somewhere and quickly watch it and then come back in.
Again, it's not long. I mean, it's only a
No.
few minutes.
I'm going to watch it. Me and Don's got our glasses.
Y'all going to watch them here? Y'all going to head out?
Oh, no. I'm just going to step outside and look up.
You're like,
Columbus is not. We're like right on the edge.
yeah,
of
you're not going to
total.
see 100%. You're going to get
Yeah.
like 98%.
Yeah.
Will that be enough?
Yeah, it'll be plenty.
That's funny.
It's awesome.
That's funny.
So I saw an article on CDL Life that I thought was interesting.
Okay.
There is a bill that's been introduced in Congress to try and streamline the process for truckers applying for their hazmat endorsement or their TWIC card. These are both things that you have to go through TSA to get your background check, your fingerprints and background check done. And they're trying to eliminate duplicating the cost of getting these things done because they're using the exact same fingerprints and background check process for both. So they're trying to make it easier, less costly for drivers to get these security clearances, basically. So it's a new thing. It's just been introduced recently, but they're trying to adjust what that cost looks like and the barrier to entry for drivers looking to get their hazmat endorsement or their TWIC card and their TWIC card.
So is this just kind of building on what they've already done with the pre-check?
It is. It's also building on if you go to get a hazmat endorsement and a TWIC card at the same time, you don't pay the exact same amount for both. There is some discount to add one or the other if you already have one, but they're trying to eliminate that extra cost completely. And so So for those that don't know, if you're a commercial driver and you have a hazmat endorsement, you also have TSA PreCheck without having to do anything different. The way you use that is when you book airfare in the spot for a known traveler number, you put in your 2-digit state and then your CDL number. And that is your known traveler number. So when you get your boarding pass, it'll say TSA PreCheck on it, possibly. Sometimes they don't. But it'll say TSA PreCheck, and you can go through the PreCheck line when you're going through the TSA security lines at the airport. And that's at no additional charge.
Yeah.
That is just something that's added on there. So in this case, if you went for a TWIC card and a hazmat endorsement, you would pay one fee. That same fee would cover both of those endorsements. There's no extra money. It's just the one fee. And the TSA PreCheck would be a part of that as well.
So what are they trying to do? I mean, like, so they're basically like saying it's a cash grab, basically, right? Like they're just saying if you get a hazmat endorsement and a TWIC, we'll cut you a break on the price, make it a little cheaper. And they're now trying to say, like, that's even not unfair. That's not fair.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Let's just go ahead and...
We're going through the same background process as it is.
It's no additional work.
There's no additional work. Why are we charging an extra fee for the exact same background check?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they are looking to eliminate that cost and make it easier for drivers to get these credentials.
Yeah.
You know, so if we need drivers to run hazmat or be able to access ports and airports, well, let's get those endorsements if they're going through the exact same process.
Well, it makes sense, too. I mean, like, you know, as weird as it is to say, the federal government's not a for-profit company.
No, they're not.
So they don't really need
They're
to throw in the value-added whatever. They should be, if it's a civil service,
Sure.
do it.
Yeah. It says the bill would allow truckers use existing valid background checks for multiple TSA credentials without paying a duplicate cost. So again,
That'd
like
be
if you
nice.
got your hazmat today, and then 4 months from now you're like, oh hey, I now find a need for a TWIC card. You can just get the TWIC card, and there wouldn't be a fee associated with it.
I would imagine that if there was no fee associated with it, you just get them all at once,
I would think so.
right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
if I were to go in today, already having my hazmat endorsement, then I would pay another fee to get the TWIC card, but I wouldn't pay the full amount for a brand new background check. There would still be another fee for that.
Sure. It says it's called the Transportation Security Screening Modernization Act. I
Yes,
know.
it is. What's that stand for? Is there an acronym that goes with it?
TSSMA?
Well, they didn't do anything fancy with it then.
TISMA?
TISMA. Yeah, I know when I got my HME first, my hazmat on my license. Eric did too at the same time, and then we ended up getting our TWIC card next, and then we ended up getting our pre-check. We also got global entry. Oh, did we just get pre-check? I don't remember. The following. So, what are all those fees added up?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
I did the exact same thing.
we're like $350 into it each or something like that.
hazmat, then I went and did TWIC, then I went and got pre-check, and then I went back.
You got
First
global
time
entry.
I went to Italy with you and got my global entry, and I
Yeah.
was like, wow.
Yeah. Same exact every single
Yep.
time. Well, that's good. I mean, we are so used to these articles being how is the federal government or the local governments screwing the truck driver over.
Sure.
It is really nice to see, hey, here's something they're actually doing better with.
Yeah.
I like their last little ditty. It says, truckers and other transportation professionals often need a variety of security certifications to do their job. However, maintaining so many different credentials takes time, money, and can be complicated. To ease that burden, our bill will streamline the TSA's certification process without sacrificing security.
That's very cool. Well, I appreciate them for pushing it through. And it's not done.
No,
Right? Still going
it
to be?
just went to the Senate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
On March 14th.
it's just starting the process, so it might be some time before we see this. But I thought it was interesting that they're looking to eliminate fees for us.
Absolutely. I hope in a few weeks, months, we are reporting that it passed and our president signed
Let's
it.
hope we are.
It's a done deal.
Let's hope we are.
I think it's time, too.
Yeah.
Your time, finding the location, making the appointment. If you're OTR, how do you arrange your schedule with your freight to make it home in time for the
Right.
appointment? All of that stuff. It's just time consuming.
Well, if you're and I look at it as if you're administration, whatever that may be. Right now, it's Biden's administration, but this is pretty universal. Most presidents agree to this. If your administration is, how do we help people working in the workforce do their job easier, better, bring more money home to their families? Which again, I think you go back. I think Trump's administration did the same thing. I think Obama's administration did the same thing. I think, like, at the end of the day, that kind of stuff, they typically at least say that that's what they want to do.
Right.
When something like this happens, it's actually a little proof that, like, okay, you're standing behind what you're saying. So hopefully there won't be any pushback. I mean,
Yeah, let's hope not.
I'm sure there's a study being done somewhere talking about how much money the federal government's not going to make because of it, and maybe that's going to be a hang up for some people. But hopefully not too bad.
But again, the government's not a for-profit entity, right?
Yeah.
Need enough money to take care of bills, and that's it.
I do feel like
So-
sometimes they forget that.
I think they do. Right now, a new application for a hazmat endorsement is $86.50. If
Yes.
you're in a state that accepts the threat assessment for a TWIC card in place of a separate threat assessment for a hazmat endorsement,
Yes.
then your application for a hazmat endorsement is $41.
Okay.
So there is some state stuff going on in there too,
Yeah.
but
That's a mouthful.
Well, we've seen and we've seen that too with people getting their HMEs or hazmat endorsement across the country. Some states say go get fingerprinted, get
Right.
approved for that, come
Then
here
take your
and take your test. Some say go do your test and then fingerprint.
yeah,
Some say we don't want you fingerprinting with TSA. You come here and fingerprint inside of our state with our state's people.
Yep.
Like, it is wildly crazy how
That is strange.
that is across the board. I mean, you know, when it comes to like a driver's license, all the states have reciprocity for what your state has issued you, but it really falls back to your state and them issuing that license, and so that state has, you know, states' rights to issue it according to whatever rules and policies and such they want to do.
Right.
So,
and having changed my CDL 3 times in the last
4 years,
4 years,
5 years.
well, starting with getting in Oregon originally,
Mhm.
and then we moved to South Dakota and switched to South Dakota, and then moving to Ohio. Both South Dakota and Ohio required new hazmat written test before we could, they move over our hazmat endorsement.
Yep.
And then getting your TSA transferred, that was just a pain in the butt.
Yeah. I experienced that when I came from Louisiana to Ohio. Well, again, at least the federal government is trying to make their portion of it easier.
Sure.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be nice.
And let's hope that streamlines some of the state stuff too.
absolutely. And help equip people to make more money, right? I mean,
Yep.
at the end of the day, if you have a hazmat and a TWIC, you're most likely, if you're in an industry that serves one or the other, you need one or the other.
Right.
And it'll help
Right.
put a little more dollars in your pocket without hurting as bad. I did get some preliminary bad news. So I have heard under the table in a dark room
That you're airing on YouTube.
with the air conditioner turned on full blast cold down a hallway
Oh.
from a secretary's
Mm-hmm.
desk that was empty outside of a Macy's
Really?
that there will be no expo this year.
Oh.
So tomorrow they'll announce there is one, and
Of
I'll have
course.
bad data.
Yep.
But that's what I've been told. I've been told that it is officially canceled. But again, I've not been officially told that from the officials. I've been unofficially told that from someone else. So, but it's a solid source. It's a good source. So I don't think it's going to happen this year, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sad.
It's always been something that we've enjoyed doing over the years, being a part of. I remember the very first time we ever went back in 2013. Eric won the 50-inch flat screen television
Nice.
at the casino night, and we've been to everyone since. And yeah, it feels like a little piece of the industry just kind of like hurt.
Yeah.
So
Well, hopefully they'll revisit it next year.
I'm hoping they revisit it either next year or maybe they try to put something together at the last minute to like resemble it.
Right.
That's still a possibility. If they get enough pushback, maybe something will happen. I don't know. Yeah, I know we've been kind of teasing it along these past few episodes, and we did obviously such a big deal about it last year. I just thought it was fair to let everybody know. From what I've heard, as of a few days ago, it is no mas. So, that being said, if you enjoy what you've been listening to and you like to hear us yammer on and chat and talk about meaningless nonsense and news articles and our experiences and the weather, hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video if you can. If you want to know we're going to be on and you don't remember, we're on every Saturday morning. We post these. You can also hit that notification bell, and it'll send you a little message every time a new one drops. Our schedules are kind of crazy, so we're trying to figure out how we're going to pull next week's episode off. But if we end up not being able to do it, we'll see you the following week. And we just thank you for everything you're doing. Again, if you know someone who's like, hey, they're driving down the road for a couple hours, they could use a little entertainment, little something to take the edge off.
Yep.
Throw them our way. We'd love to tickle their ears with our poetry. And Jerry, what'd I forget?
If you're interested in finding out more about expediting or joining the Hyfield family, check us out at www.hyfieldtrucking.com. There's lots of information on the website. Chat with one of our recruiting ladies or possibly me. And, yeah, we'd love to talk to you and tell you more.
If you have any ideas for the Outer Belt, any things you want us to talk about, discuss, you can find us at the Outer Belt on Facebook. Where are we?
the Outer Belt on Facebook, the _Outer Belt on Instagram. And you can also send us an email at theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep. And we also do some stuff with Hyfield Trucking as well, so you can find us over there.
Boy, I think you can just find us.
Yeah, I think you can just find
Did you
us.
mention
If
all the
you
podcast
just-
platforms?
Oh, we're
Any
on all-
podcast platform.
Thank you.
Yeah, your favorite podcasting platform. Leave reviews, thumbs up, whatever you have to do there on those podcast forums.
Absolutely. We're also on your least favorite podcast
We are. Yeah.
forum. So I mean,
Yep.
you know, we try to be even killed on that.
Equal opportunity.
Yes. Until next time, drive safe, make good decisions.
Don't leave money on the table either. Never.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night.